What's good, everybody? From the ashes we rise once again. The Black Phoenix Podcast, MCTR, hanging out with you one more week. What's good, TR?
Hey, it's all good over here. We just was this first week in March. Fun fact, in March I always forget about St. Patrick's Day. I only remember it when it shows up like the day before. I never have it on my radar or calendar for anything.
How could you forget all these drunk people walking around downtown with open cups? That's every year, ain't it?
Yeah, it is, but I always forget about it. I never think about St. Patrick's Day, but for the most part though, it's been a kind of a weird start to the month, with Iran and then how people feel about it, I don't know if you've been seeing it, but there's been a few people that are on the right that have been pretty much very, very critical of Trump. And I'm not going to say how people need to feel. I'm not going to say what's right or what's wrong. I'll tell you this much, though. These people, the amount of stuff that was happening with the Biden administration, you saw no one ever go against them. That were originally, on his side, and they spoke out while he was still in office. Now motherfuckers talking. But before that, they were not talking. They were all silenced. But I understand this war thing and how some people have a problem with Israel for whatever reason. But for the most part, though, it's been a very weird start to the month.
Man, I didn't know we was going to start off with geopolitics, but here's what I'll say about it.
Very light. So
we'll keep it light because to me, it is kind of light work. I look at it like this. People don't understand the Middle East. People don't understand checkers versus chess. So let's look at it like this. Trump went at Venezuela, and now he's going at Iran. Our biggest economic threat right now is China. You basically just went at the top two countries that export the most amount of oil to them. You got rid of Eastern influence in the West. And regardless of how you feel about Iran, Israel, whatever, what you can't deny is Iran has been financing and arming people that don't like the United States. Now, we can talk all day about how to approach something like that, but I'll tell you what Trump's doing is essentially the exact opposite of what Biden and Obama did. That much is true.
Exactly. So, yeah, I know some people that have fled that country, and they find it very odd and weird how people that have never lived over there, been over there, how they appear to want to defend Iran. So
I'll say this too. So my dentist is a Syrian. And if you don't know what Assyria means, you probably need to dig into that a little bit more. He would probably call himself Persian, but he's Assyrian at the end of the day. And one of the things he always told me is look at how Iran was before 1979 versus now. Essentially, they were colonized and dominated, and it's a night and day type of thing. I'll just leave it at that. Do your own research.
Yeah. All right, let's kick some things off. Some major fireworks. Now, MC, I didn't know this was even going on when it showed up on my timeline that the DHS Secretary Kristi Noem was at some judicial hearing regarding how she's been handling the DHS and ICE protests. And then also she got grilled on an affair related to how she rose in the ranks. So I'm going to play a quick video. Any quick thoughts on that before I start this video?
I'm going to hold off my comments until after, but I'm not the least bit surprised, but I'll go into that a little bit later.
Yeah, same here too. So let's do
it. From California is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Secretary, for joining us. Finally, you are in charge of protecting the homeland. And so your judgment and the judgment of your senior staff can be the difference between life and death. So I think that judgment would need to be unassailable. Why then, is the question, have you made Corey Lewandowski your de facto chief of staff who possesses an unchecked level of power at DHS? Under your leadership, this person has done things like fire your FEMA administrator while sitting behind your desk, which is your job to do, lobby to build the controversial detention facility known as Alligator Alcatraz, which has turned into a legal boondoggle costing Florida millions, and have veto and reviewing and signing power over large DHS contracts and grants, which again is your job. DHS has critical agency components like the Secret Service, FEMA, Border Patrol, Cyber Security. So does Corey Lewandowski have national security experience, military experience, law enforcement experience? No. He is a lobbyist, a failed campaign manager, which is causing my constituents who are waiting for their FEMA dollars and me to wonder what are his qualifications for this job. So according to the Wall Street Journal, you and Mr. L have a close relationship that has made President Trump, quote, uncomfortable. The president reportedly denounced Corey Lewandowski as your chief of staff due to reports of a romantic relationship between the two of you. So instead, you designated him as a special government and employee, a position.
Well, real quick, and she's just, a lot of these committee hearings, they're just like, who can talk the loudest, who can get the clip, the most viral clip. And again, I didn't know anything like this was even going on. And for Kristi Noem to find herself in this situation, it's a bad look. And her husband was at this at the hearing as well too. So I hope this ain't the first time. Well, definitely not the first time you've heard about this, because apparently this has been some type of conversation around Kristi Noem. But again, I haven't heard of it until now. And if Trump did have an issue with this guy, I don't know why he was even around then. Now, I don't know if he did have an issue with him, but if Trump said, hey, this guy got to go, why was he still there? Like, that's my question, and I'll get to her response, but if you want to chime in, MC.
First of all, asking somebody if another man is clapping your cheeks in front of your husband is diabolical. That's number one.
Yeah.
Number two, FEMA has been a cluster F for a very long time. I'm thinking all the way back to Hawaii. I'm thinking back to the fires in California. I'm thinking about the upper management that got the axe in North Carolina because they were skipping over MAGA houses and not wanting to provide them benefits. So FEMA has been a big mess for a very long time. If they expected her to go in and clean, I get it. She's accountable for cleaning it up, and it sounds like she wasn't very effective at it. I'm trying to be objective here, and it also sounds like she's made some questionable hiring decisions around people in her circle. You can't expect Trump to micromanage who she hires. He hired her to get a job done and gave her the authority to hire and put people in place to do it.
Yeah.
It sounds like there has some disagreements on goals being met in budgetary items, and that's ultimately what led to this.
Yeah. Hold on. I'm off the camera. There was also some questions related to purchases. And I don't think these were purchases outside the scope of her position, though. But when you layer it with all the other things that were occurring, such as what happened in Minnesota, again, those were people winning Darwin Awards. But she had to have a response to that. I didn't like her response to it. But, I didn't think it was something that would have, got her fired. And then the purchases, it was like some marketing stuff. And then she bought like an airplane too. Like, I know they're going to spend money on stuff like this. And to me, I don't think it wasn't that more of a pressing issue. But hiring your side dude, hell no. That's the most flagrant situation that has occurred here. This is the same thing that got Fani Willis caught up when she was trying to go after Donald Trump in Georgia, Fulton County. This is the same goddamn thing.
Exact same thing.
So I don't know. I didn't see anyone bring up any evidence, but there must have been enough there to shake, or at least Donald Trump be like, look, you got too much shit going on. So we're gonna get you up out of here.
The other part of this, TR, is you talked about the alleged side dude situation. The other employees were getting pissed off about it, and it was killing morale the entire department. So apparently it wasn't a very kept secret. A lot of people knew about it. They suspected something was up. And here's the big one. I know everybody who's watching this has seen the campaign ads, or not campaign ads, but the commercials that Kristi Noem has been running. Like, hey, we're here, we're doing our job. If you're here illegally, you should leave now. She spent over $200 million on those ads combined. And there were global commercials too, because obviously they were pushing these commercials in the countries where a lot of people were fleeing here from. But apparently her and Trump had a disagreement on the amount of budget for advertising, and allegedly Trump accused her of far exceeding that limit, and that created other tension as well.
Yeah, I think it's more to do with the handling of what happened in Minnesota. Again, I'm not blaming her for it, but I don't think the response was the best, because that became a talking point for the next few weeks after those shootings. And then also, it's hard to shake an affair, especially when you're married with kids and you're supposed to be a TradCon. Man, that is not a good look for some of these marriage bros, because even in politics, you have to watch your girl. We have seen many politicians bust down a secretary, bust down a campaign manager. Shout out to Gavin Newsom. He bust down Gavin Newsom, his campaign manager's wife. Like, there have been multiple situations of just people falling. And honestly, I'm saying with women, they should know better, because they know that the penalty and being included in something like this, you're not going to get the benefit of the doubt. And hey, it's not fair, but it is what it is. Those are one of the rare times women lose on things like this. And if this guy had a he was a lobbyist, you already messed up right there. So you can have this guy really around. He can't be trusted. And if he did have those personnel issues, that's more reasons why he should have been gone. Because now this guy, he messed up your money. And make no mistake, she's still in the Trump administration, but she's been demoted. So this is not a lateral move like some people want to make it sound. And I know Trump dressed up nicely, said thank you and everything, but she's lucky that she even got a job. So, Trump is trying to take care of his people. But again, she essentially was just making a mess, making a mockery of making a mockery of her job and considering everything there's so much work to be done. How do you have time to have a fucking side dude? How's that even possible?
I suspect most of them got something on the side, honestly, TR. You're talking about a position of high power, a lot of stress. You're probably not at home very much. I wouldn't be surprised if most politicians had something cracking off on the side, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, for real.
He has had well beyond the allowed 130 days and requires him to disclose if he is making money off of his position.
Mr. Chairman, I am shocked that we're going down and peddling tabloid garbage in this committee today.
Reclaiming
And
my
ma'am,
time.
one thing that I would tell you is that he is a special government employee who works for the White House. There are thousands of them in the federal government.
So reclaiming
And
my
as an
time,
advisor,
Secretary, it is
and has
okay for
no-
you to be
no
offended
authority
by
to
the
be making
question.
any
It is
decisions,
okay for you to
has
be
no
offended
authority
by the
to be
question.
making
But it is
decisions
also
and
a
putting
real
up your
question.
position. So what I would say
And
to
you should be able to
is
answer the
that what we do
question
at the Department of Homeland Security
clearly
every single
and without
day,
any hesitation.
every single day is to protect
If
this
someone
country
is
and to
asking
make
if
decisions.
you or any federal official is sleeping
have-
with their subordinate, that should
I
be the
have-
easiest. You should be wanting to answer that question.
Is garbage.
Because it is not about
It is
your sex
offensive
life.
that you have brought
It is
that up.
about your
So
judgment.
that kind of garbage
It is
has
about
been refuted
reclaiming
for
my
years,
time so
and
that
you
I
need
can
to
hear myself.
recognize-
Mr.
belongs-
Chair.
Time belongs to the gentlelady from California, but it'd be nice if you would let her respond.
I will. I want to let you know, it is about your judgment and decision-making. It is about the 260,000 employees that
No, she on that bullshit. Kristi Noem doesn't answer the question. She doesn't give a direct answer. And on one hand, if you answer the question, then you're giving life to this scandal, this alleged rumor. But you don't answer the question. What are people to believe? What are people to assume? What is your husband to assume? What are your kids to assume that? And then you get demoted a few days, like a couple days later. This wasn't a good look. I think we're done with that video too.
Yeah, but there's not a way to answer that question that is a good look. Her at the end of the day, the only battle she needs to fight in regards to her extramarital is the one that's at home. It doesn't matter what the rest of those people think. And she didn't answer the question, to be clear. She just called it tabloid garbage, but she never said, no, it's not true. So she did kind of leave the door open, but in this case, TR, the best thing for her to do is to leave that alone. Let them gossip about it. And honestly, I'm a believer if you are doing something like that, it will leak out at some point or another, especially when you have a high profile role like this.
Yeah, I was already thinking that too. I was thinking that if she is doing something, how come they don't have any more evidence? I mean, I really couldn't find anything. I couldn't find any pictures. I did like kind of a quick look to see if there were like any inappropriate pictures, but I didn't see anything. But again, if this stuff is, making it to a judicial hearing, you got a bigger problem because you got people snitching on you as well too. Like Tom Homan, hey, he said he was in Minnesota, and we ain't heard from that dude, and we ain't had any riots either. So that also wasn't a good look when Tom Homan went in there and got it cleaned up. So I don't know if she did herself any favors, but you got to keep your house clean. You got to if you're going to be in one of these high profile positions, you got to make sure you run a steady ship. And any side dude that's going to like mess up your money, mess up your power. I mean, not too many women get this role. And I know women love to, highlight this, but I mean, for a woman to be elected to that spot though, I mean, again, like I said, not a whole lot of women get this role. And she was one of the fortunate ones to get it. And now she's losing it. It's going to a guy, I forget the state he's from and his name, but he was apparently a former MMA fighter as well too. So that'll definitely be interesting though. But yeah, it's just unfortunate for her because if it's not true, then this guy, I mean, what was the whole point? Like, if this guy was always a problem, what was your loyalty to him? Get rid of him.
This is kind of a left field thing, but it kind of relates. Do you remember Kristen Sinema, TR? She was a senator from AZ.
I do not.
Okay, if you Google her real quick, you'll remember her very quick. She was the first openly, quote unquote, lesbian to hit the Senate, and she took her oath on. She took it on the Constitution instead of the Bible. Why am I bringing her up right now? She's being sued right now because while she was a senator, you remember those home record laws in North Carolina? She's being sued by a woman in North Carolina because allegedly her husband was clapping Kristen Sinema's cheeks while she was a standing United States senator.
No, I vaguely remember that. You're right. Yeah. Yeah.
So I say all that to say these scandals and these affairs, they're not gender specific. They're usually power and wealth specific. That's ultimately the point I was trying to make. And the lawsuit is out there. It's all alleged at this point. Right now, it's just a lawsuit that hasn't been resolved.
Yeah. Do you think this was more to do with, do you think Trump made the move just because she became too messy, or there's something else going on? Like he was trying to give her a soft landing?
I think something messier is happening. And I think the reason why he didn't outright fire her is because he's trying to do damage control and he doesn't want anything else to get worse. I think if this was a full-on dismissal, I think some more messiness would have erupted.
Yeah, true. All right. Okay, so let's talk about the next topic here. All right, sorry, I was getting the banner ready.
Yeah, politics is a cold game, man. It's a cold game.
Always. All right.
Brando, what's up? What's good, man? I see your comment.
All right, what did Brando say? Yeah, I was thinking that too when you said that too.
She definitely ran as a les, but if you know, you know. There's been allegedly some men connected to her. And Brando, if we keeping it 100, a lot of these quote unquote lesbos have been caught sneaking out of men's hotel rooms. Let's keep it a bug. A lot of these chicks are just lesbo for show.
Okay, for show, for the stay. All right, we are going to discuss a troubling topic. A woman crashing out about her promiscuous lifestyle. Let's roll the tape.
How your people be the main ones telling you don't be a hoe. You don't gotta suck dick. You don't gotta do nothing. You can ask us for help. And I turn around and I ask y'all niggas for help, and what you tell me? You don't have friends? You don't got nobody else to ask? I do! And I can suck a dick for it! But you told me to stop doing that because you got me, right? You don't got me! Oh yeah, my brother was up there. Oh, go find go trust God. Not these niggas. Well, guess what? God sent me these niggas! It's so fucking frustrating. I get a new job,
Family
right?
show.
I get a new job. Everybody, bitch, stop being a whore, Gina. Stop sucking dick, Gina. Be a mother, Gina. Work for what you want, Gina. Okay, I'll go get a motherfucking job. And what happened? Can you watch my baby? I don't know. Can you pick up my baby and take it to my mama's? No, I got life. No, I can't. No, I can't. Ain't it funny how your people be the main ones telling you don't be a hoe? You don't gotta. Can you give me $20 so I can pay a babysitter while you got a job? You know what? I didn't have these problems when I was sucking dick, though. Hell, I can leave my baby in here with a motherfucking Peppa Pig episode before that bitch even finished the intro. Dick sucked, ready to go. Mommy got $400. Let's go shopping. I did it. I stopped being a whore. Now what?
Damn, that's sad as hell.
I mean, yeah, it is. It is sad.
I guess I'll start off. So so men are supposed to lead and protect, right? She started this video by saying that she's had people in her circle that have been telling her for years to stop doing this mess. And I'm sure that's the case before she even started having kids and before she got in the bind that she was in. So there's been some layer of protection there, I'm assuming. It sounds like she's just opting not to listen. Honestly, it sounds like her mind is made up, TR. This is the lifestyle that she wants. But at the end of the day, welcome to adulthood. These are the problems that we all got to deal with. You know, I'm married, but if I wasn't, I'd have the same. Like I got a daughter. I got to make sure somebody's watching her while I go to work. I got to make sure that she's taken care of and provided for. You're dealing with the same stuff that men deal with on a daily basis, and it seems to be breaking you down. And you know what this is to me, TR? This is more evidence. And I heard a pastor say this a long time ago. He said pressure is made for shoulders, not for hips. Yeah. That means that men are better equipped to deal with pressures like this than women are. And I will stand on that until the end of days.
You know, unfortunately, MC, this is one of those videos that needs to be played to a lot of women, because for every one of her, there's like probably 1,000. I don't know if they gotta, suck some duck for it, but they got to do something for it. And all we ever hear, and it's partly society's fault, partly men's fault too. Mainly, and the only reason I say men though, because there's a lot of men that subscribe to like, hey, women can do better, women can do this, women are, strong, powerful, independent creatures, blah, blah, blah. And unfortunately, for a lot of women, if they don't make the right choices, either with education, with their bodies, with their family planning, if they don't make the right choices or picking the right guy, they're going to end up in situations like this. Maybe not as extreme, but there's a lot of men that get out here, start pandering to a lot of these women, and they're dirty macking. They're just saying these things so they can get close, so they can be with her. So, I mean, and $400 for like, man, that's a lot. What is inflation? Hoflation? Like, that's a lot of money.
But somebody's willing to pay that, though. That's the problem.
That's true, too. And for her to come out here, even if it's a skit, it's just weird to me that people come out here and say stuff like this. And there's some truth here. Unfortunately, we know plenty of people that have been in these situations, and life is tough, especially when you got kids. And a lot of these women, they're finding out that you need to have the kid's father in the life, or you need to go find a simp. Generally, they do find simps. So I don't understand. It's not like simps just, stop going away. If she just pretends to like this simp, then she's going to be in a better situation. But she can't pretend. She can't fake it. And a lot of times they already do that stuff. But for whatever reason, she does want to do that, morality and everything. But unfortunately, when you say stuff like this, it's going to be on the internet for a long time, along with like, the kids find out your mom said this. Again, whether it be a joke, skit, or whatever, it's going to be on there. They're going to play it for that kid. And they'll be like, hey, what, your mom do this? Can I get in? Is she still doing this? It's like just crazy stuff. And I don't know how this girl is, but she's in her 20s and she already cracking. So this economy, and it's only, I mean, this economy, the way that the United States is going, you're going to have a job that's somewhat, I don't want to say like AI proof, but you're going to have a job that
An essential role.
Yeah, you're going to have the essential role. Exactly. And, or you're going to have to get a job where, you know, you got to do some heavy labor. It's going to have to be one of those things. And things are not like, it's not like you're going to be able to go on trips. So you're not going to be able to enjoy life. And when those kids get older, you're going to have to like pay 100% of the costs for kids to be in sports. Like, I don't understand why they think this is a better option, trying to be social media stars and not, hey, just go get a husband. Men still want to get married, considering everything that's against them. They still want to get married. And most of these men probably will, but it's like, and this is another thing too. Are you gonna wife this up after she said all this? I don't know what man's gonna like want to wife this up and take her serious.
If you wife up a chick who puts her business on social media, you are making a big mistake, because as soon as it goes bad, she gonna air you out on social media. I'm just telling you right now. And like I said, I feel for this lady. I really, really do. And right now she's in demand because she's young. She's relatively attractive. But what happens when you age out? You think that $400 is going to keep coming? Yeah. That number is going to drop. CGA talks about this all the time with Fixings Bonds LLC. And one of the things that's a common thread over there on that channel is you see tons and tons of men say that they're not paying for nobody who's in their 30s and their 40s. Yeah. As you age and progress, that number is going to decline. And this is the lifestyle that she's attaching herself to. So she needs to be mindful of that. And I'm gonna just say this too, TR. I intentionally waited until I was in my 30s to have my first child. And I didn't have a lot of OGs putting that type of game into me. But what I did have was the rules of observation. I saw so many of my friends and cousins and family just going through baby mama drama. I'm talking about tires slashed, windows bashed in, home invasions, going to jail for DV situations. I watched all of that stuff. And I told myself that will not be me, because I value my peace too much. Like, what's wrong with just falling back and just observing just observe people, and you'll learn a lot more just by sitting there being quiet and just watching people.
Well, the other thing is people make men feel bad for not being married, not helping out a single mom, or society, I should say. Society does it. When men want to travel, and hey, no shade to the passport bros, but when men want to travel and do some different things, they catch a lot of smoke. And so for a lot of men, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. And if you don't want to be part of this situation, then you're definitely not going to be, those are the type of men that can actually help in this situation. And so for a lot of these women, you're losing these types of men, or at least those men, when they come back around, you show up on their radar, but you already got multiple kids, or you got a ton of trauma. So that guy definitely is not going to be able to want to, take care of you in your 30s, late 30s or 40s. And as we get older, the most hospital visits I've ever had was after 35. It wasn't before. I rarely went to the hospital. And then if I did, it was just for a checkup. And so for people thinking that, things get easier, it don't get easier. It's rough, and you're probably going to live a long time. Most women live longer than their men. And so you got to do this stuff by yourself. And if you don't have a husband who has a life insurance policy, this is how people normally did it, where, the father or somebody in the parents had life insurance policies. And so the family wouldn't fall in despair after the main breadwinner, passed away. But in our culture, it's not discussed. And this is why you have a lot of kids that are in these bad situations who cannot move, who it's hard for them to escape their family legacy, I should say.
I'll say this.
Or legacy, or I should say curse, family curse.
Women have a lot of safety nets. I know in the state that I reside in, there are plenty of nonprofits and women's shelters that provide services for stuff like this. I don't know where she's located, but I know Angela Stanton King is a Black conservative woman that we talk about all the time. She has a nonprofit called Auntie Angie's House, where she takes single mothers and she helps them build their lives up to where they can be self-sustaining and independent and sufficient.
Mhm.
I'm sure there's going to be some type of options available for her like that. Whereas with men, we kind of got to figure it out and get it out the mud. So I would say you would need to use those resources. And once you get tapped into those resources, you might want to chill out on the promiscuity for a while until you find a man that's worth the damn. But you're going to need help finding him because women's intuition is nonsense. When it comes to men, it's nonsense. Y'all don't know how to choose. You can't do it by yourself, and you need a man in your life to help you choose a good man to help you identify a good man. But a lot of y'all don't know that person, or maybe you knew him earlier in life and you ignored him.
Or he is square. Right. That's the other thing too.
That square talk is cooked, but go ahead.
Yeah, that's a good point though. There was this pilot program for it was $1,000 stipend like every month for like a year or 2 years or something. They were actually having trouble filling that program, which I thought was weird, but I think people just weren't signing up. And it's not like you had a whole lot of paperwork. It was for single moms, and you had to be below a certain income threshold. And I'm not all for all that, giving away all that money and everything, blah, blah, blah. But for the most part, I think those services are available. What I think is probably the issue is that they don't want to be told to adhere to certain things, in certain, not income requirements, but, not having more kids. And then also when it comes to like, you maybe got to look for a job or something, you got to show proof or whatever. But tons of services out there. But I will say what some of these nonprofit companies, they should be doing, and it's going to be controversial, but they should be sending some of these women to wife school, like straight up.
I don't think wife school is needed. I agree with you there, but I think a lot of women are way too prideful to admit that they need something like that.
Hey, I get, they probably will say that, but they got to do something different unless they want these women to be destitute to them, because these women are not going to be able to get out of their income situation unless they're going to school, which you're going to need help. And then if you're going to school, that means if you got a kid, who's going to pick that kid up? Like she said earlier, who's going to pick the kid up? Where's the community support? There is no community support. The only community support is if you get killed by a police officer. That's really the only time the community really rallies around you to give you support and take care of your family. Or somebody says a slur. We've seen that happen where somebody said a slur and they got a GoFundMe, and they were able to capitalize on that. But for the most part, though, a lot of these organizations, they do not help women move forward in life, but they can move forward with finding the right person, finding the right guy that can take you to the next. Take you out of your situation. That's why women. It should be pushed a little bit more than what it is nowadays, because there's more women that are in the poor bracket than there are women that are in the middle class. And some of those middle class women, they're one payment away. Most Americans are, but for a lot of women, they're one payment away from sliding into that poor class.
Yeah, the average American doesn't have $1,000 in their checking or savings account, so they're not prepared for emergencies. But again, women, this is my olive branch to you. If you think you're independent and you don't need a good man in your life, we just showed you Exhibit A. This is the other side of it, because when you are jumping to these podcast spaces and you see all these people on these podcasts and Instagram and Facebook talking about they're Miss Independent and they're an entrepreneur and everything's looking fine, they're only showing you the positives in their life. They're putting a facade together for you, and you guys are falling for it hook, line, and sinker. So if you are of the ideology that you don't need a man, I would just say that you're cooked, because you need one, but it needs to be one that's prepared to protect, provide, maintain, sustain, lead. If they're not doing all of those things, you're cooked.
Yeah, and I'll say the other thing too is that when it comes to like this whole social media, the only companies that will give you money, but you got to put in work. And obviously we're trying to put in the work is YouTube. All like on the IGs, the Snapchats, the Facebook, TikToks, they're not putting that money down. They're not even paying creators. They're trying not to pay creators. So if you're whatever you're saying, whatever you're doing, hey, you're gonna have to work a lot harder, and don't give up your 9 to 5, and hopefully you have a good family support, because if you're a single parent, you're gonna need it.
Absolutely. And if you don't, then build a tribe. Build your tribe.
Yes, build your tribe. Yeah, that's actually a very good point. All right, MC, I gotta tell you this next story. It flew under the radar for me as well too. I wasn't even like checking for it, but I guess the trial just ended related to this this former mayor, who was arrested for having relations with her son's friends. Now, this is a very weird story. As as I read into it more in the text message exchange, man, I don't know what this woman was thinking. And she was divorced. I don't know when she got a divorce, but it was just a bad look all the way around. And this woman the signs were there, but for whatever reason, people give a lot of women a pass when it comes to being a predator. And what do we hear every week or every month of a female teacher, taking advantage of a student of theirs?
Yeah, this story is crazy. I reserve my comments for after the clip.
Bombshell verdict in the shocking case of a mayor accused of having sex with her son's underage teen friend at a pool party. This is video of former Mayor Misty Roberts leaving court per KPLC after what was the most shocking day of her trial. What the victim, the star witness for the prosecution, told jurors on the stand, and the damning line that he says the mayor said after she had.
Hell no. FC, I have I don't think, okay, I don't know if you're, if that's in the cards for you when it comes to sports with the kids, but, or if that's something that you want to get involved with, but I'm telling you, for someone that has had kids in the sports, there were parents like this. And it was always like, when it came to I didn't see a lot of fathers doing this, but I did see a lot of mothers being a little too chummy with their kids' friends, and also wearing questionable clothes. She shouldn't be wearing this. I get it says play ball, but obviously she's had some enhancements. You shouldn't be wearing stuff like this. And this is a picture that was probably posted on their social media, and she's a mayor. And then you can't police clothing, or style police or whatever. Look, you got to be aware of your surroundings, and you got to be aware of the types of pictures you're taking, as well as what this is going to do to the kids. And we find out, this mom was trying to groom her kids to bring potential boys over their house.
Yeah, and just more context, this chick is divorced. She's now a former mayor. I believe it was Louisiana City, down there in Louisiana. And she was the cool parent. She absolutely was the cool parent.
Red flag if they're the cool parent. Red flag.
I actually have a story about that, and I can't say the names because God, I hope he's not listening, but I got to tell this story.
This guy.
One of my closest friends when I was younger, we kind of fell out over the years because he was affiliated, and I'm not, and I can't be around that stuff, right? But I used to hang out over there a lot when I was younger. And his mom was the cool mom. She would make sure the THC was popping off, and you want a little drinky drink or whatever, cool. She was the cool mom, right? Didn't care what time you came home, all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we later found out that somebody who was pretty much a year or two older than us, not that much older than us, was clapping his mom's cheeks.
Jeez.
So I'm familiar with stories like this. It doesn't surprise me. You have a mother who's single, and this is actually kind of a tame picture of her. There's a reason why they call her the Bikini Mayor. When I tell you that this chick is sending out choosing signals in some of her pictures, TR, she's definitely putting out choosing signals. And we know at the end of the day, we always talk about meat. Women like meat, money, energy, attention, and time. And in this case, she was seeking attention, and she got the attention that she was seeking, and she just didn't get it in the moral way.
Right.
Had sex with him. We're on the case presented by Law and Crime. I'm Kristi.
Oh, hold on. Pause. Oh, man, go back like 5 seconds. Okay, now I'm starting to see what you talked about because you said she had some enhancements. I was looking at the side view of that picture. Look at this picture versus the one
said after she had sex with him. We're on the case.
right there.
Yeah.
You notice something different?
Yeah, I know it's what's missing.
Yeah, so she got some work done. Okay, now the pieces are coming together.
Presented by Law and Crime. I'm Kristi.
Matter of fact, pause real quick. Because I got some women. I got something to say to women real quick. If you get a BBL or you get your breast enhanced, you're doing it because you want to do 304 behavior. I don't care. There's no other reason.
Whoa. MC.
No. We're not doing that. If you get those types of things done, it's because you are seeking validation, and that is you're seeking external validation outside of your house, and that is a huge red flag. Prove me wrong.
I'm not gonna let you get away with it. Mommy makeovers all the time.
Mommy makeovers are not the same thing as getting your boobs enhanced and getting the BBL. Mommy makeovers are slight repairs to the body taking damage from giving childbirth.
And also
two totally different things.
And breastfeeding as well too, MC. Like it's 2026, MC. I can't believe you don't know this.
All right, so you mean to tell me that all these chicks walking around looking like they in the Ants Life movie, you're telling me that they're doing it because they're getting mommy makeovers?
Okay,
they're not doing it to sell themselves on IG or fly over to Dubai and take one of those contracts.
The BBL is 100% in that category. However, the mommy makeovers with the stomach tuck and then also the breast augmentation and everything, I'm not going to say they're all out there for show. However, in this particular situation, she was definitely putting the girls on for show.
Okay, I'll give you this. Maybe 9 times out of 10, they're doing it to do thought behavior. Maybe there's 1 out of 10 that do it just because. But I'm telling you, 9 times out of 10, they want to be on that 304 type stuff.
Oh yeah, definitely. And you can definitely tell when it happens too, because even on social media, they're never shy about it as well too, which for this woman, unfortunately, she was not shy about it.
And hey, if that's the type of chick you want to attach yourself to, so be it. Just know you'll never be the only one. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, she's not your girl. She's our girl.
Former Mayor Roberts leaving court after a shocking verdict in her case. Now, before I get to that verdict and what could happen next, let's talk about this story because it is the kind you typically don't see a top elected official accused of a sex.
She looks way different. She got that work done after she became, I don't know if this was during, she was still married at this time.
So it sounded like she got divorced and she said, I'm outside for real.
Yeah.
That if I'm putting the timeline together correctly, but even before all of the work, she was a fine enough looking woman. I don't understand it. I'll never understand women when it comes to stuff like this. She looks just fine right there. She's not going to be like a supermodel or anything, but she's cute. She's fine enough.
MC, I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
You don't think that that's a semi-attractive woman right there?
No.
All right, I guess we got different tastes.
Nah, man. See, and a lot of times, they present themselves to be a certain way, and in the back of your mind, and again with this one, we already know what we know about her, that she is a predator. Her husband, if your husband divorces you, and let's say you're a good-looking woman, huge red flag. There's something going off there. That means I can't take you serious, but something clearly happened in this situation. And for her to I can see why she had the work done, because it's up in her face. Like, I don't know if this was past her kid or whatever, but I think something, when you're pregnant, your face bloats up. And I think that's probably why she got her face done, or at least because she looks way different in this picture than she does in her mugshot, actually.
Yeah, we're gonna disagree on this one, TR. I'm not seeing too many things wrong here. Like I said, she's not a 10, but she's fine. She's fine. All the other stuff you said is true. She's a predator, she's a manipulator, all that stuff. But just seeing someone like this and not knowing that, I'm saying she's an okay looking woman.
You know what? At the end of the day, though, I'm not even gonna look. MC, did you hear about the case about the teenage boys and the 13-year-old girl, and they abducted her allegedly, or whatever the case is? I don't know if you heard it. Have you heard
Bits and
about it?
pieces. Bits
Yeah.
and pieces.
I gotta wait till all the information comes out, and I don't put it past anybody, whether you're a public official, whether you're a coach for a team, whatever it is. Everybody has a raised eyebrow, and honestly, you get an automatic red flag. If you're in politics, you automatic red flag. I don't care what side you're on. Automatic red flag. We saw with Kristi Noem. She got taken down because of an alleged affair. We saw with Fonnie Willis. All Fonnie Willis had to do was just present the case the way she was going to do it. She was going to get paid. Everybody was going to get paid off that case, even if it never got to the trial. She was going to get paid off that case, and she couldn't.
And even if she didn't get paid, she would have made a name for herself because she would have been the one that went after Trump.
Yeah, her ticket was punched. All she had to do was get this case all the way through, maybe the trial. Her ticket was already punched. She was going to go places in the Democratic Party, and then she fucked it all up because she couldn't keep it in. Well, she had some Nathan's hot dogs. Wade couldn't keep it in his pants, and he had a whole situation going on. Again, I don't know how these people be finding time. You're going through a divorce, you got kids, and you got time to clap cheeks with your boss and take trips, man.
You're going to find the time for stuff that you want. That's a given in any situation.
Apparently.
Crime like this. Now, Roberts, she's a former mayor. She actually hasn't been the mayor of DeRidder, Louisiana since July 27th, 2024. And that's when she abruptly resigned from office.
See, can you see it? She looks different now than that last picture.
She does.
Yeah, you can tell the fillers and the Botox. She started to work that in.
DeRidder is a small town, less than 10,000 people. It's about 4 hours from New Orleans. It's really in the southwest part of the state, close to the Texas border. Now, you go back to the day that she resigned in 2024, and it was really hard to make sense. But the reporter also said that when you look at the picture, you can't really see the majority of their bodies. But again, it was described by prosecutors very much part of this pool party. Witnesses reported that she was being flirty with the 16-year-old victim.
Hey, I got something for you. Look, men, if you look, I know this was a minor. Again, sons, if your homeboy is being flirty with your mom, look, you can't do nothing about your mom. You can say something, you can do whatever. You got to fire on your homeboys. You might get your ass kicked, but you got to fire on that dude. Ain't no fucking way that everybody's gonna know you clapping my mom's cheeks in the next room. Ain't no goddamn way. I don't know why he didn't. I mean, and he would have had every reason to. He would have been like, look, temporary insanity. He fucked that dude up. I would have given him a pass. I'm like, yeah, under the circumstances, I get it. Case dismissed. He ain't going to. If I'm a jury on that, a juror on that in that case, you don't have to worry about me. Like, I'm gonna be like, not guilty. Should have been fucking his mom.
Yeah. So here's the thing. When it comes to men being assaulted like this, people generally don't care. That's why a lot of the times these women get looked
dude. I know you ain't like that dude should not have been fucking his mom.
I'm not disagreeing with that. What I am saying is, generally speaking, when women do stuff like this, they get lesser sentences than men who do stuff like this. That's what I'm saying. Now, going back to the son was the one who kind of aired this out and started shutting it down in the first place. He was one of the main people he caught them, looked through the window and caught them, because I researched this a little bit. He let the other kid's family know, to the point where they reached out to her and said, can you at least get a plan B? Because this is embarrassing. And he was one of the main ones testifying against his own mother in court. So it's not like he didn't try to stop this.
What?
But guess what? Trying to tell him a 16-year-old boy, and we were both 16 at one point, TR, the wind could blow a certain way and we ready to go at that age. There's no way he was going to stop a 16-year-old boy from making a mistake like this.
MC, I don't care, because now your whole life is fucked. He already had to testify against his mom too. At least he should have been like, look, I whooped that dude's ass. Maybe, because here's the thing, and I'm not saying this would have happened, but he could have said, hey, I didn't know what was going on. I thought he was if alcohol was involved, and she can't hold her own fucking alcohol as an adult. If alcohol was involved and he took advantage of her, he could have easily said that and whooped that dude's ass. He could have said that. I'm not saying it was been the right thing to do. I don't know the case like that. Like maybe I know she tried to get out of it saying like he came on to her or something. But the point is, they both were in the wrong. He can't whoop his mom's ass. He got to whoop his ass though.
If that's his boy, you definitely got to see me outside. If you're my friend and you do some stuff like this, some furniture about to be moving and we about to go outside. I agree with you on that.
Okay, he getting a bat. Yeah, he getting all the work. So I mean, pause. But
that she was dancing at this party in a swimsuit. There was a picture that KP.
Also, I got some smoke for the daughter too. A lot of times the daughters will tell their moms about themselves. I don't know why the daughter did not say anything. Dancing with your friends. Like I know I'm putting a lot on the kids, but
you are.
when have we ever seen kids not clown their parents or get in their parents' face? When did that stop?
It is not the kid's responsibility to correct their mother. It is the mother's responsibility to be a decent mother and human being.
I get all that. I'm not disagreeing with you on that. But when this stuff is going on and you see your parents out of pocket, when has that ever stopped a kid from telling their parent, get your ass under control? When? That's never stopped them.
It sounded to me like he been trying to stop. And I think I heard something earlier that he tried to warn some of his friends about how his mom can be when she's get a couple of drinks in her.
I don't know why he even said that, because that sounded like it was like, are you trying to give us a train ride or something? What are you trying to say?
It sounded like he was in a powerless situation and he did what he could to stop it. That's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah.
LCTV said that prosecutors called lewd that was shown to jurors, and it's a picture of the mayor in her swimsuit with the victim. But the reporter also said that when you look at the picture, you can't really see the majority of their bodies. But again, it was described by prosecutors as lewd. Now, as the night went on, the mayor reportedly goes into a room with the 16-year-old victim. And in that room is where they had sex. The mayor's own son testified that he saw his mom sleeping with the 16-year-old through a crack in a window. Then you have Robert's nephew, who said that he used his phone's camera to see what the mayor was doing inside the room.
See, look, I know I'm an asshole. Why is the nephew recording? Like, your admission that something happened, your verbal admission, should be enough. I don't understand why why are y'all recording? Because from what I've heard, they all saw it. They knew something was going on. Something, nefarious was going on. I don't understand why you were recording the what took place. That's the weird part to me. I don't get it, man.
And allegedly the video magically disappeared once they found out the nephew was recording. But he honestly might have saved himself in that regard, TR, because at the end of the day, we have to remember
you want that on your phone. Seeing your
that might have been his way of trying to say, hey, this happened, we need to report it to somebody. But there's other risks with doing that too, because the victim in that video is a child. And if you distribute that video and share it, depending on how state laws roll, you could be charged with distributing child porn. So
you're right.
You gotta be mindful of stuff like that too.
You're right. Let me see if I can find I want to hear the text messages in the DoorDash.
Oh, and he told a courtroom that he was unsure if he ever hit record. So it's not like he sent a video to anybody, but he turned his phone over to investigators. He said that his Snapchat history was wiped because he was afraid that there would be pictures of him drinking
Which they
at
can
this
find
party
that
that would get him in
information.
trouble. Now, on Tuesday, the victim took the stand, really the star witness for the prosecution. And this was after days of testimony and several witnesses, everything built to this point.
Also, now it's time to put some real smoke on her. Why didn't she take a plea deal? Why did she make her son go on the stand and relive this whole thing?
She didn't make her son go on the stand. Remember, the son is testifying against his mother.
I know, but
he's with the prosecution.
I know, but has she taken a plea deal? At least she would have saved him. She was already cooked. I don't know how thought she was going to get out of it. There are the text messages. They had all the witness statements. She was already cooked.
She's going to try to get out of it the same way that all the other women in this situation tried to get out of it. They're going to make themselves the victim and gain public sympathy. That's what they always try to do.
Not only did she humiliate her son, but she sacrificed her family on the stand, because had she taken the route of like, look, I've already done enough damage to my family. I'm not going to put them on the stand, because it wasn't just the son, it was also her nephew. They put them both, and the prosecution, that's kind of assholeish too. They should have been able to make their case without the testimony, but whatever. She needed to have them on the stand, and that should have been an automatic, like, oh yeah, I'm definitely going to jail, because what mother would do that to her family, her son, her nephew? Like, she's a straight up fucking monster, and I hope they put her in goddamn jail.
I'll tell you exactly what kind of woman would do something like that. The ones that are insatiable when it comes to attention and outside validation. I talked about this last week. A lot of women are insatiable when it comes to attention. They got to get energy and attention constantly, all the time. Validation. This is her. This is exactly her. Yeah. And to the other thing that you said, you're saying that, TR, because you're a good parent. We've already established she's not. Anybody who's willing to go to a party, underage party, and have drinks with a bunch of kids is pretty much already put it out there that they're not a good parent. It doesn't even have the respect of her own damn kids.
Yeah, red flag central. Let's see if we got some more of this.
And that victim on the stand did say that Mayor Roberts had sex with him inside the room in the house. He said he was very drunk at the time. And what seems to be one of the most damning lines from the entire trial, the victim told the jury that after sex, the mayor gets into this very vocal, verbal fight with her son and reportedly told her son, quote, "Go find your friend. He's the one who did it." Now, the victim's mom, she testified earlier in the week, and she said that her son had told her that the mayor had sex with him. And she even said that she texted the mayor asking if she was pregnant. Now, think about being a parent and having to send that to another person your age about your child. Mayor Robert.
I'm a bit curious why she would say that, unless she's trying to entrap her, because obviously they're both grown women, so they know how this works. So unless there was a delay when she asked that question, I don't know why she asked if she was pregnant. But spoiler alert, guys, she gets a Plan B pill through DoorDash, and you can be subpoenaed in these types of situations. We're done with this. I didn't realize that could even happen to you. Like, you didn't see the crime, you just delivered the product, and you're getting a subpoena?
Yeah, this chick is cooked. Well, she should be cooked, but I'm curious to see what type of sentence she's going to get. But again, women don't get harsher sentences than men when it comes to stuff like this.
Yeah, she needs to be thrown under the jail. And unfortunately, it's going to be a long journey for the kids and all the family involved. And looks like the father knew what he was doing when he got out of that marriage.
Oh yeah, he's a smart one here.
Yeah. Not to, this is a strange pivot, but we're going to talk about Keke Palmer and Demi Lovato discussing dating older men. Like, these predators, man. Look, what they do. I was thinking about this the other day too, about Keke Palmer and Demi Lovato. They're going to initially, what do you call it? They're going to confirm all the Harvey Weinsteins, not Harvey Weinstein, but the Jeffrey Epstein's folks, the people that went to the Diddy parties, all those people. They're going to confirm it in this video related to like how these underage girls are they running around. And I make no mistake, people knew about this. It wasn't just like all of a sudden like, oh wait, who's that? And is she of age or whatever it is? These people knew these girls are underage.
Yeah, we're going to have some heartbreaking things that I'm going to say as we progress through this conversation. I'm just going to leave it at that for now.
Oh, yeah, I ain't giving no passes either.
Of dating. I'm 15. Why is my boyfriend 20?
Why was my boyfriend 30?
Girl,
You know what I'm saying?
Like, I'm not smiling at that, but that is real. We was trying to find outlets, though. I don't think,
and
it's
also
just a way to process this, and nobody our age, I mean,
could understand. Nobody our age could understand. But then you look back in hindsight, when I turned 30, I was like, that's not okay.
girl, the moment when you realize and you get the age of a lot of people that were around you and doing stuff, it's almost a mental break that can happen because you realize you were taking advantage of. Oh, I was being exploited.
Yeah.
Oh, was very difficult for me when because at 15, I'm thinking like my boyfriend's older because I'm doing an older job and I'm doing a bunch of things and this is the way that it is. And it seemed normal in my mind. But then
especially if you're an older soul too, especially if you're mature for your age.
I love the Hillary Duff
Mature for your age.
song.
Oh my God, me too.
Yeah, because it's like, we all had the same damn life.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Where people kept telling us you're so mature for your age.
I also wrote a song about that. It's called 29. And when you listen to it, I think you'll be able to relate to it.
I found myself
MC cooked. Most of you men, not you were boys at the time, teenage boys, half the time you couldn't get the girl because you weren't old enough. Half the time there was some dude in his 20s, 30s in some situation. And how is that like? I mean, I don't know their ages, but they're not too much. I mean, they're probably like 10 or 15 years younger than us. But how is it that, and Demi Lovato, I mean, she was already a star in her teenage years as well, too. How is it possible that your parents don't know what you're doing? Oh, I don't know if she had her dad around or not, but some parental figure doesn't know what you're doing. You're running around with a 30-year-old. What it sounds like, she was hooking up with her manager. That's what it sounds like to me. That's the closest person to him in most cases.
Yeah. I'll start off by saying this. Most men, myself included, knew at least one or two chicks in high school that were getting picked up by somebody who was older than them.
Yep, same here.
So most people, when they start high school, they're typically 14, 15 years old, right? So as little boys, you're already at a disadvantage because that's what you're competing with. You're trying to approach and talk to somebody your age. And the genesis of this, TR, is most women think that they're better than most men. And it starts in high school.
Yeah.
So they start looking beyond what's in front of them, and they start going out to what's called the beyond. So they see these older people who are established, got some type of money, some bread, or in this case, he might just have a car, and you might be fascinated with the fact that he has a car. Yeah. This story repeats itself time and time again. Now, when I first saw this video, I was watching CGA at the time because he talks about this all the time, and he's always had a theory that most women do this. So what I did, TR, when I first saw this video 4 or 5 days ago, was I literally asked 6 women that I know pretty well that I trust, and they all told me the same thing. This happens way more often than you think. Way more often than you think. So you got these little 14 and 15-year-old girls out here, and you got 30-year-olds trying to shoot their shot at them. Now, why these little girls want to grow up so fast and look beyond the men that's in front of them and the life that's in front of them and rush themselves to adulthood, I'll never understand that. But I'm saying this as a girl dad, not in my damn house. Not in my damn house, because I will crash out over my daughter. No question.
Society, here again, pushing all these women into adulthood, simply saying, hey, we're mature for age. Because a lot of people do say that women or girls mature faster than boys. Maybe in that first year, like maybe that high school year. And if they're, if they've been given the genetic lottery, they stop maturing mentally. They may mature physically, they may mature, in their friend group. But when it comes to like emotional maturity, it stops. It gets put on hold for a little bit, in my belief. But for the men, oh man, you're always like maybe you don't really put it all together, I mean, you start realizing like, I got to start doing different things if I want to be attractive or be successful. It takes men are late bloomers in those situations, but they find out early in their, I mean, they find out later in life that nobody gives a shit and you're not going to be able to go to a lot of these parties. You know, there's this crazy story that CGA brought up about how women have lived like a life of lived like 10 lives. And I didn't think this was like I mean, I knew there was some truth to it, but I tell you what, a lot of women that I've dated, interacted with, they've been at parties where they've had like, you know, hard drugs at these parties. And for me, and maybe I'm just kind of square or some shit, I've never been at any of those parties. Ain't nobody asked me to hit no Molly or get some Molly. Ain't nobody asked me to hit a bump. None of that stuff. But some of these women, oh yeah, they've been asked multiple times. They've been at people's, even when they were like, you know, 18, 19, they're going to like a lot of these, you know, a lot of these guys, older guys' places where they have access to stuff like that. And they go through a lot of crazy situations with those older men. But for whatever reason, you know, they do not, I mean, we know the reason, but obviously sometimes it's not even your fault. You can't compete with that. You can't compete with a 30-year-old guy. You can't compete with a guy that has his shit together, that has the money, that has especially a place to take you. Like most of us, you know, we're still living at home when we're 18, 19, 20. A lot of these guys, they got their own place. Like, hey, come through. You know?
Yeah. And you noticed TR in that video, Kiki kind of did something what we literally just saw the mayor in the last story do. She tried to make herself a victim and say that she was being manipulated. But I always ask women this question when they do this. When you were dealing with this man, and I asked the women that I told you about earlier, I asked them this question too. Did you know what you were doing was wrong? A few of them were honest enough to say yes. But the ones that said no, I asked them this. I said, if you didn't know it was wrong, why did you have to sneak around and do it and hide it from everybody?
Exactly.
And I could never get an answer to that question. As a matter of fact, one person hung up on me when I asked that question. But,
also,
go ahead.
Where's the Me Too allegations? I promise you, had their careers not turned out the way that it did, and the person that was, you know, they were dating when they were underage, I promise you money, they would have went after that person and said like, well, he took advantage of me when I was a minor and I want to sue him. Like, I mean, honestly, we might even see a law like that in the next, you know, who knows what'll happen if the Democrats ever get control, or at least in New York. We'll see a law where a woman can file, you know, rape charges from at least 10 years. We've seen it happen already. It occurred in New York and in California. So there's potential that it could happen again where hey, let's go all the way back to high school.
Yeah. And like I said, I think this happens way more than people think. These are just the stories that we hear about or have seen. But again, it's just going to keep on happening until we get some corrections, man. Like I said, the genesis of this is young women tend to think that they're better than the young men that are in their age group. It starts there, and then it leads to all this degeneracy. But here's the thing, TR. This is going to get worse, and I'll tell you why.
It's already worse.
We know that Gen Z and Gen Alpha have terrible social skills. They'd rather be on their phones and devices than actually get outside and talk to each other. How many social media apps that are unblocked and uncontrolled by the parents you think that they're active in? I mean, I'm not even talking about the IGs and the Facebooks. There's just GroupMe, there's Discord, there's all kinds of places for you. WhatsApp is another one. Like they active out here in these chats, and they're talking to these people on their phones and devices without the parents knowing.
Yeah. And then also, there's a high percentage chance that most of the women that you've interacted with, dated, that they were with an older guy when they shouldn't have been with the older guy. Like, I'm just going to give the assumption that they were, unless I know they were a nun when they were in high school or something. I'm going to assume you've just been talking to older men. Like, at some point, you talked to an older man or you met up with an older guy. I had an ex-girlfriend that said she hadn't met up with the older guy. I didn't think nothing of it because I was like, oh, that's weird. But that's what they do. And parents, as much as they want to put them on lock and key, it ain't going to help. They're going to find ways around it. And I find it hypocritical that Kiki and Demi are just talking like this is like no big deal. But what they did, they exposed all the women in their industry or women that have been in that industry. And we knew about this. But like I said earlier, this whole Epstein thing, this is all related. This happens in Hollywood, happening with, maybe some of these athletes. It's all related because they've all been doing things. They've been covering it up because they don't want to get exposed. That's exactly why Hollywood hasn't even come out and said release the Epstein files. I mean, they'll let the stupid politicians do it, but for them, no. They don't want that smoke. They don't want to like announce when they were with men when they were underage, because that'd be the easiest one. If you want to really, be champions for women, hey, these men were taking advantage of us. Here are their names. Put them all on Front Street. You did it during the Me Too era. You had something to gain during Me Too, but now you don't want to do it because you have nothing to gain now.
Me Too was Me Too got compromised, right? Because what happened with Me Too was the good men who didn't do any of that stuff consciously decided that they were going to stop cold approaching women. So now you have all these women complaining in these social spaces about men not talking to them or courting them anymore. That's a side effect of Me Too. The men who actually were out here doing good things were so scared and nervous about being tied to those guys over there doing all the F stuff that they completely changed their approach with y'all. So you got to be mindful of that too.
Facts. So, yeah. So, hey, God bless them. And, I hope, you got daughters. You have.
One more thing to y'all before we transition. Here's another reason why I know that they know what they're doing is wrong. Yeah. How many times have we seen people complaining about an older sugar daddy dating somebody that's in their 20s and talking about how wrong that is?
Who is it? DiCaprio. They always got smoke for him.
Right. So if they think what he's doing is wrong, why is what you did when you were 14 or 15? That's wrong too, by definition, right?
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. That's why I always
got that same energy.
That's why they always got smoke for Caprio. But unfortunately, no one ever comes to Caprio's defense. Like a lot of these women, you should be coming out there like, look, this is okay for her. This is okay for a woman in her age range to date Leonardo DiCaprio because this is what I was doing. But they never come out and defend this. They only They only come out to, tar and feather him, but they never come out to really defend it and say like, hey, no, there's nothing wrong with doing this. And we know some hater ass men sometimes jump in there every now and then too, but
Best thing for you to do, fellas, is protect your daughters. Talk to them, have those real conversations with them, and protect them and lead them intentionally. Because a lot of these older women, you don't want them to go down the same path as them.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so let's get to the main event. Jasmine Crockett, MC, your girl. Are you sad that she lost or indifferent? What's your take before we get into this?
I'm indifferent, and one thing that you'll always hear me say, especially if you know me personally, is never emotionally attach yourself to politics or politicians. Just don't do it. It's not worth it. And unfortunately, I know a lot of people that idol worship her, and this was a very bad day for them.
Oh yeah, it was a very tough day. But let's get a take from Sky News.
No one.
The quarterbacks.
I gotta get through this.
And so now she cries. I mean, it couldn't have happened to a better person.
You're yelling.
You don't want
calm
me to
down.
Be,
Can
no,
you please calm down.
Don't tell me to calm down.
Calm down.
Because y'all talk
calm
noise,
down.
and then
You're out of control.
Because if I
Look, Chairman,
if I
can
come
we
and
send her
talk
outside to
shit
take a
about
break
her,
for 5
just because someone has committed a crime, it doesn't make them a criminal.
I'm tripping, I'm sliding, I'm right.
Hey, let's watch that music, Sky News. I have to get me to edit that.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Goodbye and good riddance, you race baiting, in need of anger management classes, utter moron. And yet, right on cue, here are the lefty meltdowns about it.
this is not America. Okay, I'm so upset. I cannot believe this is happening to our country. Y'all should be ashamed of yourselves.
Shame.
All y'all. Shame on you guys. This is ridiculous. You're gonna do whatever you can to
to suppress our votes. You already gerrymandered everything.
Yeah, oh dear. Well, at least Jasmine has one fan at least. And have a listen to the guy who's actually won that race, James Tallarico. Is this seriously the best the Dems could come up with?
Is both masculine and feminine and everything in between. God is non-binary.
Oh, God.
Right. God is non-binary. Okay, then. And it doesn't end there. In fact, he may even be worse than Crockett.
Trans children are God's children, made in God's own image. There's nothing wrong with them. Nothing at all. They are perfect, they are beautiful, and they are sacred.
I mean, this is truly sick. This is peak lunatic asylum. And it won't even shock you to know that he can't even say the word woman.
As citizens. Every one of our neighbors with a uterus became the property of the state.
Neighbors with a uterus?
Jeez.
Wow, that is a new one. That's a new one. And now to tampon Tim Walz, who has copped it in Congress, and, well...
That neighbor's always going to stick with it.
Yeah. I got one more video to show, but MC, you want to get your thoughts in there?
So I did a deep dive on this, and everything that I'm about to say is either coming from the Texas Tribune or Emerson Polling, because I was trying to find some exit polling data, because I knew when she didn't win, the first thing they were going to try to do was blame black men, because that's generally the first playbook that comes
You know what?
up.
I might be able to help you on that.
I got a little bit of information here, but if you got some more, feel free to add later. So we knew that she was going to win the black vote, which she did. I think she got about 80% of it, which actually for a Dem, that's pretty low. But I think the Dems are delusional about the number of black folks that are leaving their party and going independent or Republican.
You see it?
There we go. Which brings me to my next point. So the Latino vote was considered the swing vote at the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we can see that they weren't rocking with her at all. She got a third of that vote. Now, keep in mind, Jasmine Crockett is one of the main ones pushing hard for open borders, which you think would be a big issue with them. But again, when you talk to Latino folks, they're not monolithic. A lot of them are conservative. They're not all left leaning, especially if you talk to ones that come from like countries that were like socialist, like Cuba or Venezuela, stuff like that. Most of the most conservative Latinos that I know come from those two countries. So she was going to struggle in that segment regardless. We knew that white people weren't rocking with her because a lot of them consider her to be disrespectful and insulting them all the time.
Let's split that. White conservatives were not rocking with her. White liberals weren't rocking with her either. That's the crazy thing. Conservative and white liberals, because white conservative and liberals, I mean, that should be a given, the white conservatives. And she also disrespected conservatives as well, too. So they were already off the board. Why didn't the white liberals show up for her? That's the better question.
Yeah. I've tried to find some gender-based dynamics. I know that they split the woman vote, but she didn't perform well in the areas she was expected to. As a matter of fact, TR, outside of black people, she didn't do well at all.
Yeah, they don't know.
And that's kind of indicative of, and like I said, I'm neutral on her, right? I find myself trying to ask myself what policies or what things did she want to do in her time in Congress, right? But when I try to research her, I hear a lot of orange man bad, everybody's racist.
She didn't do anything.
This country's evil. And if that's how you feel, you should know that that's not going to win you elections anymore. Like, people don't want to hear that anymore. People want to hear, how are you going to fix things to make everything better? Yeah. And a lot of people, including Latinos, are starting to realize, at least they're split down the middle when it comes to this open border thing. A lot of them don't rock with open borders like you think they do, because they've seen the other side of it.
Yeah. Jasmine can win districts, but she cannot win statewide elections, general elections. And I'm not saying Tallarico's going to win, but Tallarico had no business. I heard he just jumped into the race like 6 months ago. How do you get waxed by a guy that hasn't been, that's not even a well-known household name? And I even saw Roland Martin going off on. I couldn't even find the clip, but Roland Martin was going off on how Jasmine fumbled this opportunity, which is funny because last I heard you couldn't talk about a black woman, and here we are with Roland Martin talking about a black woman, how she fumbled it. And I think the other thing that's crazy, the biggest take from this, is that there's a level of political retardation that is occurring in the United States because the people that voted for Jasmine, they think she lost to a Republican. This had nothing to do with a Republican. She lost to a goddamn Democrat and a guy that said, I mean, I don't know what Jasmine generally avoids saying things related to the trans and rainbow and all that stuff. For the most part, she avoids saying it. But with Tallarico, we just saw the clip of him saying things. I didn't know Tallarico was this deranged when he doesn't want to say pronouns or doesn't want to say women. God is non-binary. Like these are like just automatic. Like, hey, ask these questions, see if I can have a legit conversation with you. And you can't have a conversation with these people. And there's even a clip floating around of a white liberal woman, who says she couldn't even vote for. She wanted to vote for Jasmine, but she knew he couldn't win, or knew Jasmine couldn't win. I'm like, what do you mean? You guys propped her up that she was, this type of energy you needed in this political charged up, politics. What was the problem? Because Tallarico ain't that guy. If that's the case, and if anything, he's going to try to put girls, boys allow boys into women's restrooms. That's the stuff he believes. But for whatever reason, I don't know what in the black community, because I saw mainly black people crashing out on this. Like Jasmine lost to a terrible candidate. And then secondly, people that said they rock with Jasmine, they didn't rock with her at the polls. So that says something. Her political career is over. She's going to be auditioning for The View and probably start her own podcast.
See, that's where I think we're going to disagree. We haven't seen the last of her. But before I get to what I think she's going to do next, let me just say this. We talked about the whole Stephen Colbert situation last week, right?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
I didn't know this, but as a side effect of that, Tallarico got an extra $2.5 million donated to his coffers within 24 hours of that event happening. Yep. That's a huge shift in money, man. Huge shift. But here's what I'll say to all you.
Come from? Exactly. Where did that money come from? How come that money didn't go to? And look, I am not on Jasmine's side. I think she's a terrible candidate, terrible politician, and she's a Democrat, and so that checks a lot of boxes for me. Where did that money come from? And then also, how come Barack Obama didn't endorse her? There were some prominent people in the Democratic Party that didn't endorse Jasmine. That Barack Obama.
I was about to get to that, but go ahead.
Yeah, Barack Obama, and then the money. Why didn't they back Jasmine Crockett? And this is the problem that I have with when it comes to the black community, or when it comes to voting in the black community, you guys are not educating yourselves. The Democrats used up Jasmine. They needed Jasmine to do all the dirty work, get all the clips, get all the verbal sparring. They needed Jasmine to do all those things. And what did they do? What the Democratic Party did, what they always do with black women, use them up and discard them.
Yeah, that's one. I'm convinced to a degree. And I think, and for all you Jasmine Crockett worshippers, because y'all like to hit our inbox and stuff when we start talking about her, because we're not kissing her feet like y'all do. But you need to point your fingers at the DNC to a degree.
Yeah.
When that whole Colbert situation happened, they did not support her in a way that was sufficient. Nobody of notice came out and endorsed her. I believe that the Dems only wanted to keep her around long enough to keep taking jabs at Trump. And they used her for what they thought she was worth. And they essentially withdrew their support for her when somebody challenged her on very, very short notice. I think they used you, Jasmine Crockett. I think you were used.
Oh,
and I think at some point you're going to have to call out your own party for doing that.
Yeah, she knows they used him or used her, but she can't call it out though, because she's trying to have a future in the Democratic Party down the road. There's no future for her. Someone made the call. If Barack Obama can't come out there, Barack Obama told us black men to go out there and vote for Kamala Harris, or he's gonna get Michelle on our asses. Barack Obama did this. Told a room full of black men and then told people at the congression, or told people at the DNC. Michelle Obama came out here. I mean, why didn't Michelle Obama endorse? Michelle should have brought her on the show. I'm telling you, the Democrats only like certain types of black women, and it's a very short list. And Jasmine ain't on that list.
They still don't get it, TR. The Dems don't get it, and they still don't understand.
The Obamas catch no smoke.
None. And their PR is terrible. Look, let's give it a buck. A big reason why Trump won was these podcasts. When he came and had these long, extended conversations that where he was able to break down some of the things that he wanted to do and some of the problems that he saw. What's the most popular podcast right now? Most listeners by far. Joe Rogan. Where's Joe Rogan located? In Texas.
Yeah.
Why not reach out to him and say, I want to sit down and talk to you for 3 hours about what I want to do? Why not? Because they still looking down on these podcasts. They're taking them for granted. They're still ignoring invitations. Stephen A. Smith said he invited Jasmine Crockett multiple times to come and talk on his podcast. And he has a huge following.
Yeah, that would have been
They're still not taking it seriously, this podcasting space, and they're not going and having the hard conversations that they need to have. Which, by the way, tells me that you don't respect the intellect of the people that are voting for you. Yeah. Because all you want to do is keep saying orange man bad, everybody racist, and not have any policy talk.
Yep. All right. One more video, and this is Jamel Hill's take.
Feel like they did it the right way, and because they did it the right way, they're trying to pull up the ladder for everybody else and say, hey, yeah, we did it the right way. We did it the way that
also, this is a wild take. Are Latinos to blame for Jasmine Crockett's law? I'm starting to think Democrats, here's the list of people that they hate: Latinos, Israel, and then black men.
I would say non-obedient Latinos. I would add non-obedient to the front of it.
Non-obedient black men too. Yeah, I'm starting to think this is a straight black man when you modify that. I'm starting to why would she even take that? I mean, I understand that was a big voting block, but that's not why she lost. She could have got the white vote and the Asian vote. And the Asian people, they don't ever catch any smoke when it comes to politics. I forget about the Asian vote at times, but in this particular race, they were enough to swing the vote. And so, like that caption said, this is what black and brown do for you. So why she pointing out Latinos because she thinks that's an easy target is beyond me.
And you know what? It's funny you mentioned Asian folks. And what's one thing that's very respectable about, and I do say Asians because I'm grouping them all together. They move silently. They support each other's businesses. They push each other's agenda. And they look out for each other. That Stop Asian Hate Crime bill was them unifying and getting stuff done and flexing their political muscle power, which, by the way, we still haven't done for some reason as black folks yet.
And got rid of affirmative action.
Yeah.
Because what they're really saying is we did it the way the white people told us to do it. And because we did it, we want our gold star. We want gold star for Marcus. And because you guys may have come a different way. And we had to do all this to get to this point and to get this close. I need y'all to do the same thing. And my thing is, listen, they get here how they get here. Okay.
Oh my God.
Why you doing the work of somebody?
This argument makes no sense.
Anyway?
No, she's all over the place.
I mean,
hold on, before I forget. She made the statement, they're doing what the white people told them to do. Which white people, Jamel? The ones from your party that told them to come over here and they'll give you all this free stuff in exchange for the vote? Or the ones that said, no, we want to kind of keep these borders closed? Which white people are you talking about? It sounds like you're talking about the ones in your party.
They're always talking about the ones in their party. They say where they try to say MAGA, they try to say conservatives, but they're the ones that are, stopping them from advancing forward. And when it comes to politics or in their political aspirations, they're not the ones doing it. They're not the ones swinging the vote like that.
Shaking my head, man.
White supremacy, if you guys haven't figured it out by now, white supremacy doesn't need any help. They don't need assistance. They don't need foot soldiers.
Just delusional.
A lot of y'all weren't even recruited and just decided to join the movement. They don't need new recruits. So why are you doing the work for them? Why are you carrying the water? It's just why? For the
not voting for Jasmine Crockett made you a white supremacist. Is that the argument she just made?
Yeah. And Jasmine Crockett has said, she has said horrendous things about, first she said she didn't need Trump voters. And it's like, you're in Texas and there's a lot of people there. They may not be Trump voters, but you need their vote. You need like the people in the middle. You need the people that are maybe they lean conservative, but are not
moderates. Just say moderates.
Yeah, moderate. Well, moderates are really Democrats, but whatever. For the most part, though, I think she needed all those people and she alienated all those people. But again, Jasmine was always a bad candidate. And then the Dems, I mean, Tarico's not going to win this race. They're just, unless there's, falling star or something, he ain't going to win this race. But this is the thing. They always want to blame conservatives, especially white conservatives. That's the reason why they lost. Or white supremacy is why they lost. And that's fucking ridiculous. They refuse to wake up in the black community. Most black people, again, I don't know why black men or really black men, we get so much smoke when it comes to voting. For the most part, the majority of most black men vote, with the color of their skin. This is crazy. You don't know if this person can do good for you, but because they're black, that is why, you're going to vote for them, which is funny because that became the undoing of the redistricting. I can't say the word. The gerrymandering law that was passed, that Texas, that became the cornerstone to redistrict in Texas.
I'll say this, and I've said this before multiple times on this podcast. I will keep an open mind about her, but I just want you to tell me one policy or one thing, just one that she wants to do or change.
Yeah,
that's all I'm asking for, and I'm asking this because I've researched. I've watched videos of her talking in Congress. I've gone to her page. I listened to her speeches. Like, I've tried to keep an open mind, and I'm giving y'all the chance to tell me something outside of the orange man bad and everybody racist stuff. Just give me a policy so I can research it and vet it for myself. I've tried to keep an open mind about her. I didn't, and I've yet to get a straight answer from any of you guys. All I get are insults. That's all I get.
And one more thing to close on. What's the difference between Ilhan Omar? What does Jasmine not have that Ilhan and AOC have?
They got the support of blue states.
Yeah. To that point, they have she has a secured base. Jasmine never had that. And after the redistrict, look, you can win your district, but after the redistricting, her district got got chopped up. And so when that happened, she had to okay, I'm going to have to win on the national level. And she can't do it because she's been so polarizing. Ilhan Omar was just yelling at Trump at the State of the Union address the nation or whatever it's called. Yeah. AOC does reckless shit. They can do that reckless shit because they know they won't lose. They're in blue states and they know they won't lose their seats. But for whatever reason, Jasmine Crockett, I don't know why she even ran. The writing was already on the wall. Tarico's not going to win. So she had no business even entering this race. There was nothing, but she wanted to shock the world. She wanted to do something different, waste all these people money and get the black culture to get behind her. And look what happened.
Another thing, TR, well, two things actually. This was just a primary. Whoever the Republican is that he's running against, he's probably going to get cooked. This is still Texas at the end of the day. It's one thing if we're just talking about Austin, but this is Texas as a whole. You're trying to be a senator for the state of Texas. It's going to be real hard for you to slide in there with that. The other thing, you know what? I'm not denying that. I can't speak for who Latinos love and who they don't love.
Latinos love. Okay, first of all, I thought it was all Latino when Bad Bunny showed up. Well, all I heard was like black people was like, yeah, we're all one skin color. So let's just put that to bed, because the rest of y'all motherfuckers were cap about how y'all rocked with Bad Bunny. But I mean, at the end of the day, you gotta speak to the people. Jasmine Crockett didn't get out there talking to the people. And the Latinos, look, yeah, they were a big voting bloc, but again, Jasmine Crockett, she had the same opportunity to get out there and address or listen to her constituents. The problem was that a lot of times with a lot of black candidates, they become pretty much focused on black issues. You can get away with that when your constituents are black. You can't do that in a mixed district.
I just had one of my Puerto Rican fraternity brothers just text me and tell me that a lot of them used to mark themselves as white on the census for a very long time. Do what you want to with that one. But here's the last point that I want to make. You have not seen the last of Jasmine Crockett. I still stand by my theory that Trump being elected is going to cause both parties to split. And I think the more radical Dems, the AOCs, the Crockett's, the Ilhan Omar's, you ain't seen the last of them. They're gonna start cooking, and they might start doing some things to split that party. And then you got your people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, potentially Nancy Mace, and we'll see what happens with Pam Bondi over the next couple of weeks.
Man,
they might try to split it on the red side.
They're not getting deported. No, the ones that are legal are not getting deported. Now, if your family members are not legal, they might be getting deported, but they didn't vote. And last I heard, Democrats claim that they couldn't vote. So I don't think that's happening.
But yeah, man, it's going to be interesting. Buckle up, because I'm curious to see how things are going to go in Texas. And I'm also curious to what's going to happen with Pam Bondi, because she's going to have to testify in front of Congress very soon.
Yeah, Pam Bondi better get her shit in order too. She saw what happened to Kristi Noem. So get your shit in line. You know?
I think Pam might be in more trouble than her, but we'll talk about that as it happens.
Yeah. All right, guys. We are going to end the show on that. Final thoughts, MC?
Yeah, this was a good one, man. We'll be back next week. Cook it again.
All right, everybody. Thanks for the, texts and, some new faces here. Have a good night.
Peace.